Hello and welcome to another episode of Top Deck, the series where we take a look at some of the leading TCG decklists, and coming back on again is Jonny playing his Salamangreat list with some minor tweaks since the previous version. So last time we saw him come on, he had played a Salamangreat list. I think it was on the same weekend as Spanish Nationals. So we move up to this weekend, or the one that's just gone, tweaked some of the ratios a bit, and managed to take second place at a major UK regional. So let's run through the list and look at some of the sort of differences. So up to 3 Buffalo now instead of the 2. I believe it was 2 for mining and Buffalo. Now up to 3. Still, we've got 2 spinnies in here. Only the one fell, I'm not sure, I think he might have just been playing one beforehand. And for hand traps, Ash, Vela, and double impermanence. Nothing else, just the 8 hand traps there. But the deck has so much ability to sort of push through into more cards. Because you play the triple Buffalo, you have more draw power, which means you're more likely to see your hand traps anyway. And then, yeah, as we said, double side net mining, not playing the triple, which reduces the risk of the dead draw, although it's not super significant. Just having the one access to any of the side net minings is still very, very strong because it is a combo and a starter card. Triple twisters in the main to ease up the matchup against the Mind deck, and there's some quite nice interaction with the Mind deck in the sense of using Solemn Strike as well, which maybe we'll discuss a little bit later, and Rage and Roar, obviously. For the extra deck, the standard lineup of the typical 8, the 1 Phoenix, the 1 Heater, the 1 Unicorn. Avramax is becoming pretty much a staple at this point. The 1 Mirage Stelio, 1 Dweller, and he's gone for Tornado Dragon rather than Bagusta, so maybe he's got some comments on that too. Triple Peg, Triple Lancia, Triple Phantasme in the side deck, Triple Ghost Ogre in the side deck. You can use your Phantasme to draw into your Ghost Ogres, which is really nice, and then Triple Reboot in the side deck as well, just give more versatility against those trap decks. So let's move on to the rounds. Alright, so this was an 8-round event, and only a single loss throughout this, to a Sky Striker deck featuring Mystic Mine, and this was piloted by the winner of the event, Quincy. So, round 1 against 60 card Orcust, game 1, Impermanence hitting a Mermaid, game 2, Impermanence and Phantasme, and drew into Lancia off the Phantasme. That pretty much seals the deal. If you see enough hand traps, you will beat most Orcust decks. Round 2 against Trickstar, going 2-1, game 1, the opponent, Jonny won the die roll, opened very strong in his first hand, so won the game. Game 2 he lost to a Necro Valley, and game 3 they both kind of bricked. But passing on Bale Links plus Roar was enough to negate the opponent's desires, and they weren't able to play after that, so Trickstar losing out there. Round number 3 against Orcust, 2-1. Game 1 he got Orcust comboed, game 2 Gazelle was disrupted but was able to pass on 3 traps to stop the opponent's plays, and then in game 3 he had a Lancia to stop the Orcust plays. And the fact that you can have a Floodgate hand trap, like we saw with Droll back in the previous National format, is very, very strong, especially when there's so much representation of this kind of deck. Round 4 against Danger Thunder, 2-1. Game 1 he managed to set up enough disruption to stop the opponent. Game 2 he opened 4 hand traps and Pancratops, but no engine, so stopped the opponent for a turn, but he was able to play in the following turn and then beat Jonny. And then in game 3, Jonny had the full combo with traps and a Vela for the opponent's Denko as well. Round 5 against Orcust, going 2-1. Game 1 he got Orcust comboed, game 2 he opened combo plus Dweller, and then in game 3 there was a Lancia again. So very, very skillful ways of beating these Orcust players. Round 6 against Sky Striker, featuring the Mystic Mine. So the only loss here, game 1 he managed to out the Mine twice, once with Foxy and once with Twin, but the opponent couldn't out the Avramax, which allowed Jonny to win from there by eventually killing the opponent. Game 2, he lost to the Mine here, and then in game 3 he lost in time due to a Hayate direct attack. You can't really deal with those. Round 7 against Salamangreat, going 2-1. Game 1, Jonny won the die roll but opened no engine, so lost. Game 2 he opened the combo plus Dweller, and in game 3 it was very back and forth, but a misplay on Jonny's part cost a misplay on the opponent's part cost him the game, and Jonny won in time by 500 life as a result. And finally round 8, Sky Striker featuring Mystic Mine once again. But a 2-0 here, game 1, a lot of passing turns due to the Mine being there, but eventually Jonny drew into the Rage and was able to kill the opponent. In game 2, the opponent bricked, so set 1 and pass, and then Jonny opened the 4 combos, so just 1 from there. So that's it for the rounds. For the siding, we have siding for Salamangreat, Orca, Sky Striker, Trapdex Mine, and Pendulum. So for Salamangreat, the mirror match, income triple Phantasme when going first. You need to be able to stop the Fusion of Fire OTK, which you're going to be prepared for, and triple twin go out because you're not going to be trying to stop the traps there. And then even going second, he's putting in the Phantasme. It just gives you an additional body and ways to search out for more and more relevant cards in the mirror match. Triple Pank and Triple Reboot also come in, but the Call Buys, Strikes, and Twin Twisters all come out in that matchup. Against Orcust, Triple Twin coming in and, Triple Twin going out and Triple Lancia coming in, and then the Phantasmes and Lancias coming in when going second, and the Call Buys and Strikes going out. And which is, you know, fairly understandable. You want to see your Lancia as much as possible, so you may as well increase your options by drawing a Phantasme, and they're bound to be having 2 links on board at some point. So that means you can either get it via there, or you can just get it on the first link summon that they make, so you can see your Lancia earlier. Against Sky Striker, we see Ogres coming in and Veilers going out. You need to hit that multi-roll, to be honest. And then even going second, the Ogres, Pancratops, and Phantasmes all coming in. You just get more outs to all of their back row. And you've already got Triple Twin within the main, so it's not really an issue there. For the trap decks, so Guru, Draco, and Altergeist. Ogre and Ogre comes in and Veiler goes out, and for Draco you also put in the reboots and take out the strikes, because strike just doesn't have enough relevance within this matchup. Although it can be useful, it's not, you know, the best card to be able to combat them, given that you're trading 1 for 1 essentially. And then for going second, Ogre, Reboot, and Pancratops come in for all of them, and the Veiler Strikes and Call Buys all coming out, because then they're just not good enough within this matchup, whereas the others can hit so much. Against a typical Mystic Mine deck, Reboot comes in and Veiler goes out. No other changes for this, you know, it's fairly standard. You need to draw enough cards such that you can just beat the deck. So you do that by not really playing until you see something. And then Pendulum, Triple Ogre goes in, Triple Call Buy comes out. For going first, you know, Ogre on Electromite is huge, no matter when it happens. And then for going second, Ogre, Pancratops, and Phantasme, once again, we see that these cards are really impactful. And the Twin actually comes out because you don't need to out the scales by the time that you're going second, because you don't need to try and stop recovery plays, especially if you're playing a Fusion of Fire build. You can just try and OTK, although there is no Fusion of Fire in here. So because the Salamangreat deck has access to the Heat Leo, you can spin away both of the Pendulum cards because they are spelling trap zones under the current system. So you will be able to just deal with both of scales no matter what, and you don't need the Twin Twisters for that. So that is it for the siding strategy. For the additional questions, he said it was a well-run event, and he enjoyed being shouted at by Connor, who's the head judge. He decided to play this deck because he'd managed to top 2 other regionals that he took the deck to, and he felt relatively comfortable playing the deck at this point. He also wanted to maximise the chances of winning a switch, which he unfortunately fell 1 place short of. His hardest and easiest matchup, so he says the easiest is Orcust because they lose to Hand Traps and Dweller. The hardest is probably Mystic Mine Striker because Striker was already difficult before, but Mine is essentially an auto-win if you lack the outs, and it makes the deck even more problematic. Relative to other decks, he's put the Phantasme in the side. It's a key difference. He was kind of scared of playing against stuff like Draco or Mystic Mindburn, so he wanted to avoid maining dead cards in those matchups. As a result, it probably hindered him slightly actually, because Phantasme was relevant against 7 of the 8 decks that he faced, but he doesn't think that it affected the deck significantly otherwise. In terms of changes, he'd probably try to add some more outs to Mystic Mine, potentially cutting the reboots, trying to find space for Fusion of Fire in the side for the mirror match because it's so impactful there. And obviously sets that were relevant to this deck, the Salamangreat structure deck, Signet Mining printed in Dark Neostorm makes it less reliant on normal summon, and also the Avramax from Dark Neostorm is really useful in the extra deck, and it allowed him to win a couple of games. He's not super excited about future stuff because there's a focus on Nationals and Euros, so he's not sure which sets are going to be super relevant. I believe there is 1 set before Euros, but it might not be the most impactful anyway. Shoutouts go to Helsius for also topping, Nappa for his invaluable Salamangreat deck building theory, and the rest of the York and Leeds lot for their ongoing support. So So thanks very much for coming on, Jonny, and sharing your list with the updated text and all the changes that you've made and the theory behind each of these cards. And congratulations on your top. Shame you missed out on that switch, but I'm sure that you'll be doing wonderfully well in future events. Thanks for watching this episode of Top Deck. If you have any comments or suggestions that you would like to make, leave them in the comment section down below. Check out the description for details of how you can get involved in this series. You can enter by voice interview, or instead you could just send all of your information over Facebook Messenger. Anything like that will be absolutely fine. If you want to see anything in particular from the upcoming series, then be sure to get in touch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.